Hello and welcome to Wisdom Trek. This is Guthrie Chamberlain, and I am your guide to wisdom and creating a living legacy. Thank you for joining us for our 7-day-a-week, 7 Minutes of Wisdom podcast. This is day 90 of our trek. Yesterday, we continued to explore our trails on how to make wise decisions, where we stopped at waypoints 3 through 6 along the path. Today, we will finish our trail as we explore waypoints number 7 through 10. We are recording our podcast from our studios at the Big House in Marietta, Ohio. Today, we spent much of the day on site with one of our clients in Marietta, as we do each month. We also continued with our client work and training as we learned the nuances of social media promotions, podcasting, and more in-depth on an online business model. It is a fascinating and challenging business model, as it is still very much in its infancy stages. Just as a child grows and learns rapidly, so is online content marketing. While this segment is not new, with the explosion and the use of internet-enabled smartphones on a global level, this market segment is erupting in like manner. Most of us, though, as humans, are resistant and hesitant to change as we are comfortable with our habits that we have formed over our life. Habits can be both good or bad. One good habit that we want to foster in our lives is that of wise decision-making. As with any skill in life, making wise decisions comes with practice and experience. C.S. Lewis said it well when he said, "Good and evil both increase at compound interest." That is why the little decisions that you and I make every day are of such infinite importance. And this is so true. But since it is our desire to make wise decisions in all that we do, our 10 waypoints on this wisdom trail will help us to choose wisdom instead of folly in our decision making. So let's break camp for today and finish our wise decision making trail with waypoints 7 through 10. Because of my faith walk, I will base these discussions of decision-making on biblical principle. As we come to waypoint number 7, we ask ourselves, have I honestly considered the warning signs? When we desire to make a particular decision, we tend to highlight the benefits and minimize the potential bad outcomes. Making wise decisions require that we are honest with our advisors and ourselves. Take into consideration all the good advice that you have solicited from others. If those advisors have your best interest at heart, then their advice must be considered. Proverbs 10:17 puts it this way, "People who accept discipline are on the pathway of life, but those who ignore correction go astray." Proverbs 6:25, "There's a path before each person that seems right, but it ends in death." And then Proverbs 27:6, "Wounds from a sincere friend are better than the many kisses from an enemy." Some points to consider at waypoint number 7. First, don't think that you are an exception to the rule. There are certain principles in life that are true for all persons. If a decision is not wise for someone else, be very cautious in thinking that it's okay for you. Don't fall prey to self-delusion. And second, remember that God's way is the best way. If there are warning signs, then no amount of justification will make that decision right. It is one thing to take a chance, quite another to be stupid. Sometimes there is a fine line between the two. Which brings us to waypoint number 8. Have I considered the possible outcomes for my course of action? When making decisions, especially major ones, it is best to make a list of all possible outcomes from this decision. Write them down with the potential benefits on one side and the potential negatives on the other. And don't forget to take into account the lost opportunities that will result as a side effect of this decision. For instance, if the decision involves a monetary purchase, you will need to consider what other items you will not be able to purchase because of this decision. No decision is made in a vacuum. If you are saying yes to one choice, by default, you are saying no to something else. In the scripture that supports this, Proverbs 14:1, it says, "A wise woman builds her home, but a foolish woman tears it down with her own hands." Proverbs 14:15, "Only simpletons believe everything they're told. The prudent carefully consider their steps." And then Proverbs 27:12, "A prudent person foresees danger and takes precautions. The simpleton goes blindly on and suffers its consequences." Some points to consider at waypoint number 8. First, take into consideration all information that will be impacted by this decision. Don't rationalize your desires. Second, assess a potential risk. There are negative potential outcomes for every decision made. Yes to one decision means no to another. And third, have a contingency plan. If everything just went wrong based on the decision made, what are your plans that will allow you to survive this decision? Which brings us to waypoint number 9. Could this decision jeopardize my integrity or hinder my witness for the Lord? Never make a decision that has the potential to hurt your reputation, hinder your integrity, or to destroy your character. There is nothing in life that is worth obtaining if it will tarnish who you are as a person, especially as a person of faith. Proverbs 25:26 says, "If the godly give in to the wicked, it's like polluting a fountain or muddying a spring." And then Proverbs 10:9, "People with integrity walk safely, but those who follow crooked paths will be exposed." Proverbs 20 verse 7, "The godly walk with integrity, blessed are their children who follow them." And Proverbs 22:1, "Choose a good reputation over great riches. Being held in high esteem is better than silver or gold." And our points to consider at waypoint number 9. First, as with most principles in life, when it comes to making wise decisions, remain balanced without going to extremes in your decision making. Second, make sure that you do not make any decisions that would soil your reputation. Would you want this decision to be published on the front page of the local newspaper or a social media post? And third, do not keep records of wrongs committed by others. It will have a negative impact on the wise decisions that you need to make. And this brings us to our last waypoint. Waypoint number 10. Is there a better option that would allow me to have a greater impact for God's kingdom? As we mentioned at waypoint number 8, for every decision or choice that we say yes to, we are saying no to something else. So ask yourself, is this decision that I am making the best choice or option for me at this season of my life? A decision may not be wise today, but could be wise 20 years from now. Always ask on every decision, is this the best and wisest decision that I can make for today, considering the season of life that I'm in? And Proverbs 11:30 says, "The seeds of good deeds become a tree of life. A wise person wins friends." And Ecclesiastes chapter 3 verse 1, "For everything there is a season, a time for every activity under heaven." And our points to consider at waypoint number 10. First, ask yourself, what story could God be writing in my life today? Second, don't assume that just because something is hard that it is not God's will. And third, understand how God has uniquely gifted and resourced you, and utilize your strengths as you make these decisions. So now over the past 3 days, we've explored the 10 waypoints that will help us to make wise decisions every day for every situation you might encounter. If you've missed any of the previous episodes, please go back and review those. They can be found at iTunes or at wisdom-trek.com. And let me know if you have any questions that come up. And please join us for our camp tomorrow for another day of Wisdom Trek, Creating a Legacy. Tomorrow we will discuss the topic of what advantages comes with walking with a limp. Well, that will finish our podcast for today. If you've missed any of the previous podcasts, please check out Wisdom Trek on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Spreaker, YouTube, or at wisdom-trek.com. If you enjoy our daily doses of wisdom, these little nuggets we consume each day, I encourage you to take the time to invest in yourself in these 3 ways. Invest with your time in improving Wisdom Trek by leaving your name, email address, and a comment on our website so that we can provide you with the wisdom and insights that best fit your needs. Number 2, invest in yourself by listening to your 7 minutes of wisdom through the Wisdom Trek podcast each day. And the best way to do this is to subscribe at iTunes or Stitcher and have it downloaded to you automatically. And third, invest in the lives of others by sharing with your family and friends, in person or online, to journey with us on our Wisdom Trek. And if you haven't done so already, please leave us a rating at iTunes or Stitcher so that we'll gain more exposure for others to join us on our Wisdom Trek. The journal for this podcast can be found at wisdom-trek.com, where we also have pictures, tweetable quotes, wisdom nuggets, and free resources. Thank you for allowing me to be your guide, mentor, but most importantly, your friend, as I serve you through the Wisdom Trek podcast and journal each day. As we take this trek together, let us always live abundantly or fully, love unconditionally, listen intentionally, learn continuously, lend to others generously, lead with integrity, and leave a living legacy each day. This is Guthrie Chamberlain reminding you to keep moving forward, enjoy your journey, and create a great day every day. See you tomorrow.